Okay, so I wanted to talk to some of my advanced students who maybe don't have their drawing pencils anymore, and maybe they're stuck with just a standard number 2 pencil. So if you have your HB pencil from drawing, or if you have a number 2 pencil, you can still get a good range of value just using that single pencil. So I'm going to show you a few different tips. First things first, get into the practice if you're going to do good shading to keep a nice sharp point. A lot of times people think about using a dull point, but what that will do is make your shading look more like a rubbing than it will a nice smooth sort of even value. Also, keep in mind that when you're shading, you want to use short, close, overlapping marks. And so try to use the tip of the pencil so that it is nice and smooth. And don't press heavy, right? And then as you want to get lighter and lighter, one of the things you probably want to do is just adjust your hand position. So instead of holding it really tight and close to the end, move it back, but still try to angle it so that you're using more of the tip of the pencil so that you can get your really, really light values. So that you have like a nice gradation. So another thing you can do is to get darker is that you can hold the pencil more vertical and closer to the end. And what you want to do is spend some time filling in the tooth of the paper. So I'm not pressing hard at all. I'm just using this upright motion and kind of just filling in the texture. You can go a few different directions, but you can see that with this number 2 pencil, you can get pretty dark, right? So that you can get a nice range of value from light to dark. Okay, so that's just a number 2 pencil, right? That's not a fancy, even a fancy drawing pencil, okay? Another tip to keep in mind is to think about where your light and shadow is. You've already practiced this, but remember that it's much easier to start with a dark shadow first. So if I was drawing a sphere, I would put in maybe like the crescent shape of where the shadow is, because if the light's coming from the right side. And then I would shade using that tip of the pencil, but also just light layers. I don't want to press hard because that will damage the paper. And I tend to shade with contour, so I like to use rounded marks in order to. You can shade with a straight line, but sometimes that will also make it look rather flat. So you really have to be conscious of maybe cross shading to make it seem smoother. And then you kind of fade to your highlight. But I really want to create like gradual transitions here. I don't want a crisp edge at all for this shadow. I can maybe even go darker by using the tip of the pencil. But like I said, I like to shade with the contour, so I'm going to try to start to use some more rounded marks here. So it takes a little bit of time to kind of smooth this out to make it look intentional. Now, if you have your kneaded eraser, you should have one with your charcoal supplies. You can use that if you feel like it gets too dark. But remember, I can just use a nice hand position, right? So if I'm holding my pencil out, right, I can get really, really light values. And then I can use the white of the paper as the highlight on things that are really, really light. So I can keep working on this, but I want to make sure that it looks 3D, and then I want to give you plenty of time to work.